Coming to you totally not live from some tiny apartment somewhere in the US, this is the Weekly Podunk. With me, Jordan Haygood. Hello, and welcome to our inaugural episode of the Weekly Podunk, a show where we recap gaming news from last week. Last week's gaming news was heavily dominated by E3, better known as the Everybody's Excited for Everything. It's an event where thousands of fans descend upon the Los Angeles Convention Center to help bolster hype for things they will undoubtedly complain about once the projects find their way onto retail shelves. Nintendo kicked off the festivities, but it appears that their resident plumber was derelict in his duties. Mario seemed to be spending so much time traversing the Mushroom Kingdom that he failed to properly train his replacement in plugging leaks. The first leak included Ryu and Roy joining the list of combatants in the new Smash Bros., which would only have surprised people without internet access. However, what really surprised people was their immediate availability. These two, along with Lucas, were to be added to the eShop within the hour. This news sent Smash fans barreling toward their consoles like a Black Friday sale, trampling people in their house in fear that Nintendo manages to sell out of character unlocks. I mean, if there's anything that the Wii, Amiibo, and their Club Nintendo's digital copy of Earthbound reward taught gamers, it's that Nintendo can run short on supply for just about anything. On a related note, Nintendo also gave a formal apology for sitting on an unclaimed pile of money. The Earthbound digital release that exceeded expectations, a NES Amiibo that crashed the largest game retailer's point-of-sale system due to demand, and the yearly pleas to bring over an English translation of Mother 3, finally started to grease that Nintendo HQ hamster wheel as they announced an immediate digital release of Mother, now known as Earthbound Beginnings. Nintendo personnel were promptly asked what this means for Mother 3, and they simply responded with, "Security!" Speaking of leaks, Bethesda did not want to feel left out as they accidentally dropped some Dishonored 2 via Twitch prior to their conference. The rest of the show went off without a hitch. They showed off a lot of what people wanted, and more of what people did not, but everybody will still pretend is all they ever wanted. An obligatory current generation port to bridge the gap while they work on a sequel and a digital card game, and a fresh new card game. Elderstone, Hearth Scrolls, Legends? A lone voice out of the Square Enix camp could be heard suggesting an HD digital version of the Kingdom Hearts trading card game, but company heads seem confused on how to deliver the instructional mini-DVDs via iOS. When we return after this obligatory transition, E3 officially begins. Day 1 of E3 kicked off on a high note, despite lingering effects on all those fans from the late-night Bethesda conference and parties that followed. Microsoft's press conference was first on deck. Desperate to avoid repeating the mistakes in the previous two E3 conferences, Microsoft clearly used the threat of a one-year exile to the position of CEO for Zynga on Phil Spencer. And it worked! Bethesda showed off a little more dog meat and unveiled plans to allow downloads from Macho Man Randy Savage, laugh track fails, a metric ton of My Little Pony, and all other mods for Fallout 4 onto their Xbox One. Microsoft also released the first video for Keiji Inafune's ReCore, featuring the frontrunner for Video Game Dog of the Year. One of the announcements garnering the most attention is that players will be able to download many of their existing 360 games on Xbox One. This should hopefully open the door for baseball games to make their way back onto Xbox consoles, even if those games are from when the Yankees were actually good. Oh, shut up, you know it's true! Microsoft filled the rest of their conference with live lessons. Gears 4 showed us that when someone says, "Don't touch," the first thing you should do is touch. Rare Replay showed us that even a company with a pretty damn good track record is just one bad decision away from developing for the Kinect. Sea of Thieves showed us that getting caught sitting around the office creating avatars of executives to make walk the plank into shark-infested waters can bring happiness in the end. For Sony, this year's theme was "Everything old is still old, but also new." The show began with the gameplay trailer for The Last Guardian, not only fulfilling their entry into E3's not-so-secret competition for Canine Companion of the Year, but also promised that it still exists. At this point in the show, a forklift descended from the ceiling with Yu Suzuki at the controls. Well, he may have just walked down the stage. Either way, the creator of Shenmue 3 did show up to announce a Kickstarter campaign for the long-awaited conclusion to the series. Kickstarter employees watched the countdown in their offices like a bomb, pinpointing the exact time that their servers would erupt into flames. While the 2015 releases remained conspicuously absent, a few more surprise announcements were to be made. Sony attempted to drown the entirety of Activision in all those $100 bills it took to secure early distribution rights to Call of Duty DLC. They also unveiled a pair of Final Fantasy games, one that looks like the player can control Funko's pop vinyl figures, and the other one that pretty much broke the internet. Final Fantasy VII Completely Remade Edition. EA prominently featured this year's shoo-in for the most desperately needed non-sports game, Star Wars Battlefront, and having failed to properly read the secret industry memo about presenting their best canines for competition, ended up with the wrong type of shepherd by offering a teaser for Mass Effect Andromeda. Sports games were not absent either. Soccer superstar Pele showed up on stage to announce that players will no longer need to sink 3% of their Ultimate Team coins into executive committee's accounts to unlock specific World Cup locations. Okay, fine, I'll say something about Ubisoft. South Park. That's right, South Park. Or to be more specific, South Park, The Fractured Butthole. The Fractured But Whole. Good one, guys. It's a sequel to The Stick of Truth, and probably the most interesting of all the sequels shown at the Ubisoft press conference. And aside from Lana from Archer and her shenanigans, sequels pretty much sums this press conference up. The battle lines have been drawn and blood has been spilled. Soon the floodgates will open and it'll be every conventioneer for themselves. YouTube personalities, journalists, and what seems like just a bunch of random people will commingle with developers, miscellaneous industry people, and a few actual celebrities. Emotions will run high as everybody rushes to make it to their most anticipated booth to be the first to slap their Game of the Year sticker on a game's banner or prepare for Operation Waiting in Line. But first, let's check in with Nintendo. Nuppets everywhere. The Nintendo Digital event included a few surprises, but mostly focused on nailing down their holiday launch lineup and provide release windows. The most heavily featured software was Super Mario Maker, Yoshi's Woolly World, and Star Fox 2. Star Fox Zero. Mario Tennis Ultra Smash and a new Mario & Luigi Paper Mario crossover also made their video debut. Fire Emblem Fates also showed up, along with a trailer with zero context for Gene Ibun Roku #FE? Look, it's the Fire Emblem Shin Megami Tensei crossover, alright? Of course, that game was shown off with a lot more context during Nintendo Treehouse following the digital event. Another title shown off during the Treehouse that we saw absolutely nothing about during the digital event was Fatal Frame Maiden of Black Water. Nuppet Reggie also wanted to surprise fans with a shiny new Metroid. Fans routinely ask for a new Metroid Prime game, and Nintendo finally listened, but channeled their most literal of genies. Metroid Prime Federation Force will make its way to the 3DS, and will fill the void left by the lack of Samus Aran with the saltiest salt from fans. The day ultimately served as a warning shot to all those bugging Reggie about Mother 3. You may just be providing the green light for Cooking Mama Earthbound Edition. That name needs work. Nintendo delivered one of the biggest surprises to Purple Link of the Four Swords Adventures, who found himself on the outside looking in Triforce Heroes. When asked to comment, he tearfully exclaimed that Totem Time was his idea, and that he never did feel like the others wanted him around. Square Enix also had some stuff to show in their own press conference, or as I like to call them, Square Nix, am I right? No? Okay. Of course, they did have some pretty cool stuff to show. A new Nier game, a new Star Ocean, some new Kingdom Hearts 3 footage. They were a little heavy on the sequels, but hey, so was everyone else. There's also some kind of PC gaming show thing, but I kinda sorta missed it. So perhaps looking that one up would be the best course of action for you if you're part of the PC Master Race and want to know more about what went down. Anyway, that's all for last week. Be sure to check back next week for another episode where I will be discussing gaming news from this week. See ya!